it's an industry that I generally love. I have a passion for. I eat, sleep, I live for fitness.
No, you need to be obsessed. You need to wake up, think about it. You need to go to bed, think about your clients, think about your progress, think about what you can do better.
Genuinely, like, just be like patient and take your time. Like that is like, you've got to take it all in the right steps. You've got to nail what you do in person before you go online.
I don't like to talk about fear. The fears is usually something that makes your worries real.
Welcome to the Coaching Ignited podcast. I'm your host, Alex Povey. It's great to have you here. This show is all about peeling back the curtain on what's going to help you build the fitness business you truly want. And each week we bring on a new guest to share their stories, insights, and strategies so you too can take action and apply what you learn. The podcast is released every Wednesday on all the major platforms, including Spotify and iTunes. So make sure you go give that a subscribe, guys. Now, if you're a personal trainer in a commercial gym with 500 plus members and you want to fast track your income growth and learn how to sign multiple new clients a week, reach out to me personally through Facebook or Instagram and just drop me a private message so we can get the conversation started and see if you could be a good fit for one of our programs. All the links to my social can be found in the show notes so you can connect with me there. Now let's get into this week's episode. Enjoy the show. So on today's episode of the podcast, we've taken a clip from a talk that I did with Tim Drummond earlier this year where we spoke about building know, like, and trust with your audience as quickly as possible. So this is a proven method that you can leverage to generate more interest in your coaching services. And it doesn't matter whether you're a PT on the gym floor, whether you're working out of a private studio, or you're an online coach. This is going to work for you. And it works extremely well if you actually use it and leverage it in your social media strategy.
I have Alex on the call. Alex, give us an idea of who you are, what you do, and why they should listen up for about the next, 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, we'll wrap for 15, 20, so I won't drum on too long about my backstory, but mainly I help in-person personal trainers on the gym floor grow and scale their businesses using face-to-face marketing tactics and free marketing methods. And also I'm involved in the Online Trainers Federation, where I also coach clients who want to grow and scale their businesses. Also got a social media agency as well, and my own podcast, Coaching Ignited, which you've been on.
How we met. All right.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. I love that. I love the thing that I actually think is really underserved, like the gym floor market. And I also think from experience as well, we were fucking terrible at it. Like from my experience when I was doing it back in the day, now I look back and I'm like, my God, if I'd had some help from someone like you, like it's not easy, but it's certainly easier than say building an online business because
for sure. I
mean, it's literally just there's like in front of you people that want to buy your shit, or maybe they don't know that. So what we talked about, like actually building know, like, and trust within a gym environment. Obviously, the aim of that is to what are the guys you work with, or that we want to talk about? What are their aims in business? Where are they, and where would they ideally want to get to?
Cool. I mean, what I'd probably like to dive into, and I think something that would be really useful for the audience, is like how to build like the know, like, and trust really fast on social, leveraging social, right?
Yeah.
Because even if you're in person, you could be doing that, but equally, if you're online, like you mentioned and alluded to, it's fucking hard compared to the gym floor to sell online, because like no one trusts you, particularly if it's a cold audience, right? So unless
what do you mean? Do you mean
base,
overall people they don't have trust? It's kind of innate, right, when you're trying to offer people something.
For sure. Like, let's just face it, everyone's like trying to sell stuff online right now, right? The market is full of online coaches, and there's no coincidence that your newsfeed is full of ads from gurus helping PTs go online because it's trendy and everyone wants to do it. So the knock-on effect of that is everyone's going online and everyone's pounding the audience. They're hitting the audience, particularly all the guys that are in the buying pocket, ready to sign up with coaches. They're getting hit from all angles. And so they're getting very sophisticated. So the market is getting sophisticated.
Do you think that's changed over the last 5 years?
100%. Yeah. Because I think it's gone through different levels of sophistication, right? So, and over time, the coaches are making bigger and bigger claims, right? It's like claims wars of what they can do for their clients. Hey, drop a dress size in 30 days. Hey, I can help you drop a dress size in 14 days. I can help you drop a dress size in 7 days whilst eating your favorite foods. Everyone's claim warring because the market's getting more sophisticated. And so they're getting more skeptical as a byproduct of all the noise and all the offers that they're getting made. So I think it's more important to not just be giving offers, but also building that trust. Because if you don't build the trust, then it's going to be difficult for people to even believe the claims or offers that you're making. And this is the crucial thing.
I think what you're, it's like, how do you do that fast? Because in a way, it's kind of the you need to do it with time, because people build trust with time. But then we also want to make sure that we're not sitting there talking to what we feel like is no one actually listening to us for months on end or year on end, and then not actually being able to communicate, or even make offers and get people into conversations as well. It's interesting because I went online when I first started doing it. I think that, so I asked you the question. I agree with you. I think it was easier back in the day. Like when I first started doing it, like there wasn't that many people doing it. And it was quite early on when I adopted it. And now it's like, and I think my feed's a bit of, because I have a lot of fit pros. So obviously then it's a lot of people that are talking about this. But would you say that even if someone doesn't have lots of friends on social, normal people are still getting bombarded by this? And if so, how do you build trust quickly?
Yeah. So like you alluded to, like it is difficult to do it quickly, but there's ways of doing it faster.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways that you can build trust online. But one of the ways that I found is to be the fastest, and it's great because you do this a lot, and I alluded to it before we jumped on the coaching call, is Facebook Lives. Facebook Lives, and I love Facebook Lives for building trust really quickly because one, it's easier to produce on your end. As an online coach, as a fitness coach, it's easy to produce because there's no editing. You don't have to retake it if you're not happy. And it goes straight up, it's live. And the great thing about it is it's native content to the platform. So I'll just get a little bit technical for a second for anyone listening, is like when you go live, Facebook knows that's native, that you didn't pre-record it or it's nowhere else because you're going through their feature that's only available on Facebook. So what it does is it gives you brownie points for doing that. So when you go live, and I've seen when you go live, I get little notifications. Hey, Tim Drummond has just gone live. And so if it's got a nice little headline and I'm interested, I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go to it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to engage with it. You don't get the same notification prompts when you just pre-upload a video. The other thing is with a live is the engagement is probably 3 to 5 times greater because you can have better touch points with people. So when you're doing the lives, you can actually call people out, right? That are in the audience that's showing up. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Hey, Sarah, nice to see you. Let me know, like, what was your biggest takeaway from this talk? You can
Why is that so important?
Because particularly if you're selling high ticket, you want to have high touch. High ticket, high touch, or anything for that matter, right? You want to build relationships. It's not a one-way street selling to someone. It has to be back and forth and dialogue.
So when you say high touch, it just even like I know you, like we're sort of even that sort of, it's like a handshake, right?
Yes, an acknowledgement. So if you come onto my live and I see you, I'll be like, hey, Tim, great to see you. Or if I don't call you out on the live, I'll maybe put a little comment and I'll say, hey, Tim, good to see you on the live. How's everything going? And it's just that acknowledgement and where you're building relationships faster because you're getting more attention. And the other thing that I really like about the lives is it's super authentic and real. So we talk about trust. How do you build trust? Well, you've got to be authentic and real. You can't hide on a live. Yes, you can make it up and you could probably like come across as someone different, but people are going to see the real you because you can't script everything when you're doing a live. And so they're getting to see behind the curtain. They're getting to see the mistakes. They're getting to see the human side. And I think that helps you build trust much faster than a preloaded video that you put up that's super polished, everything's nicely edited, like it's not as authentic. So
I actually agree, like and I think that at one point, I don't know if you agree, at one point a lot of people felt that as things started getting more quality, everyone felt like I can't do video, I can't do live unless it's really great quality. But then also what happened is I think that normal people actually quite like the fact that you might forget what you're saying, you might say something stupid, it's a bit rustic. I mean, it's still got to be like, you've got to be able to listen to it, but I think a lot of people shied away from the over polished Instagram kind of stuff, and actually they want to feel like, I know you. From my experience back in the day, like, especially when I used to get this, I always felt it was weird. People were like, I'd talk to them on Messenger or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, I just didn't know whether you'd work with me. I always found it really strange, a really strange thing to say. But then I realized that, like, these people don't know how to ask for help. They sometimes think that you must be doing all this cool stuff, and little me, you know, and it's just this weird kind of relationship that we never see from their perspective. And I agree with you. I think now, almost some of the fears that fit pros have, which is what happens if I forget something, what happens if I say something wrong, actually gives them some bonus points. It feels like, oh, this person feels like they're a normal person.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, because like, people want to relate. People can't relate to this version of you that's perfect, because no one's perfect. So they want to relate to, like, almost like your mistakes,
character
or like
flaws, right?
Your character, or if you like forget something, and they want to see that, like, you've not just polished it and you're being really authentic. And that's why everyone loves the rags to riches stories, right? No one gives a shit how successful people are until they know where they came from, because they want to see that in themselves, that, oh, I was here, and or he was there and now he's here, but I'm here right now. And that gives me hope. That inspires me to want to get to this level. And this kind of leads nicely into like a structure of it. It's not just about going live and just info dumping. Like, you want to basically take into consideration who you're speaking to. So like, if you've got them in a private Facebook group, they're probably more accustomed to you. They've heard your backstory. You've got that authority where you can influence people. Whereas if they're on your profile and they're new people coming into the network who don't really know, like, and trust you yet, you need to approach it in a different way. So on the outside, you want to impact them first with maybe some hooky statement to get people engaged. Then you want to inspire. So you inspire by giving people a look at where you were, the struggle you went through, the pain that you went through, or even a client case study. Then you talk about the transformation, and you can then start influencing people to take action. So
like the hero's journey, right?
Exactly. Impact, inspire, and influence. I see a lot of people go straight for influence when they haven't built up that currency, or they don't have the right to do it with that audience yet. And it turns the audience off because they're getting too preachy too fast.
Nice. How do you think that, one thing that we talked about at the beginning is, like, you know, people that are, say, in a gym, do you think there's value to still do this?
There is value to it, but I'll be honest with you. I teach guys on the gym floor. Not a single piece of my training has anything to do with social media.
That's interesting. All right.
Too slow. It's too slow. I want results.
I guess then what we're saying is, if people are doing something which is more sort of virtual online, then there is a time frame difference that people need to be okay with. Because I think, like, what do you think are the things that sort of either stop people from doing lives specifically, or they start it and then stop it for whatever reason? What are normally the things that hold people back?
Number one, it's the same with the gym floor and approaching people. Is like, when I tell a trainer that we need to go up to X amount of people a day, and we need to say X to get them into the funnel and then sell them into a program, the first thing that goes through their head is, what if they say no? What if I get rejected? And it's the same in anything, life, business, relationships. No one wants to get knocked back, because everyone wants to be accepted. And I think the same principle is 100% true when it comes to doing a Facebook Live. What if I go live? What if no one views it? What if no one likes it? What if people comment badly?
Alex, what happens if no one views it?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, someone will view it. If one person views it and it impacts one person, then you've done a good job. And you can build on that. People need to, like, realize that you've got to build on something. But this is where the impact and inspire becomes really important, because if you don't go straight in preachy and you just talk about maybe your journey into fitness and how you were overweight and you decided enough is enough, I'm not going down this road anymore. I want to make a change. And then you made your own transformation. And through that transformation, you then realized that you wanted to share that with other people. People are going to listen, buy into that, and support you. So it's very much about the way you approach it. But people are too scared sometimes to share their stories because they feel like they're going to get rejected, right? But if you can relate to people, then people can see themselves in you, and they're going to support that as long as you're true and authentic. And that's why Facebook Live is really good for doing that.
Do you have any sort of guidance on the structure, like how long, like, you know, ideas of like, you know, how do you encourage that? Like, is there a like a framework or anything?
Yes, 100%. So number one, you want to treat it like a newspaper article to begin with the headline. You want something a little bit hooky, like we call it before the fold, right? So you want something a little bit hooky on
when
the
you
headline.
say hooky, what does
something
that mean?
That's intriguing. Like, remember, attention span is really, really low. So if you just put something really generic or boring, no one will give a shit, right? But if you create some curiosity, this is marketing 101, then people want to listen on. So you want something in the title that's going to intrigue people to look at it. And then in the actual live itself, going back to my structure, you want impact, inspire, and then influence. The great way to do this is you want to tell stories. People love stories and they can relate to stories, and it's very easy to tell a story. So I did a live last week on the feeling of overwhelm, and it got really good traction because I literally just recited an experience that I went through that I know everyone else who runs a business or has got loads of things to do can relate to. And I spoke about the story about waking up feeling like this weight was on my shoulders. I didn't know what to do. So I reached out to my business partner. I asked him for help and I said, what do I do? And he was like, you know what to do. You told me this last week. You need to sit down, relax, write it all down on paper, and you'll be okay. The feeling will pass. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I talked about that whole process, and it wasn't super tactical or info-y. It was a story that had a lesson, and a lot of people resonated with that, and it got a lot of traction. So I turned it into a podcast as well. Nice. And polished it up and repurposed it because it resonated because it was human.
Because I think a lot of fit pros, like what they think they need to do is get on there and start talking about like reps and macros and like they're a science bod or like, you know, and
yeah.
What's your thoughts on how much of that you include, if any, and if you do, where do you do it? Or is there other ways of creating content that really makes people want to buy almost the opposite to what I think a lot of fit pros, when they start getting into it, think they should be talking about?
Yeah, I always like to share my clients this principle. You want to always go with transformation versus information.
Yeah, nice.
So transformation versus information. And you can almost weave the info into the transformation. So you talk about a client journey of going from struggling, confused about what to eat, not really having the motivation to get into the shape they wanted. Then once they signed up with you, you did X, Y, and Z, and that's the info of what to do. And then you started implementing it, and then they achieved this result. So you're almost weaving the info into a transformation that people can relate to. Again, it's a story versus just dropping info. Because if you're just going in with 5 superfoods that are going to give you 20% more energy, I can Google that and probably get a more reputable source than you're providing me with the info, right? And so it's the same when people post 5 workouts that are going to get you a bigger booty or whatever, and then they include a link and it just drives them straight to a Google link. It's too generic. You need to tell stories and show people things through your perspective and your eyes that no one else can copy or replicate, because It's your story and your viewpoint.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll start building these connections, relationships, and that know, like, and trust, because it's unique to you and they'll like the way that you're explaining it and they'll relate. This relatability thing is the biggest piece of the puzzle. And stories, the best way to do that. Nothing beats a story. Everyone loves a story.
Awesome. Look, we're going to wrap it up in a moment, and I know that you've got to be off somewhere. Just, guys, this might sound a bit ironic that we're doing this as a recording after talking about doing Facebook Lives, but we had a few little gremlins in the system, and we wanted to get some content out. So I think just on that last thing, when I remember back in the day when I first started doing some of the mentoring, a lot of the guys that I worked with were like, yeah, but how can I do this, charge this, when matey boy who's really famous charges this or does that. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, people don't care. They want to buy into you. They don't care about matey boy who's polished, who's on Instagram, who has 100,000 followers. Now, I'm not saying that person's not successful, but it's like, people buy from me when they could go to someone else, and someone else goes to someone else when they wouldn't buy from me, because it's a lot of it is personality driven. Obviously all the other stuff needs to be there, but I think when Fit Pros are watching it, it's like, they'll just hook onto you as a person, and they'll start following you, and you become even though qualifications of matey boy down, on that site might be, he's got a bigger following or whatever, or even have better qualifications. Would you agree that often it does matter, but it's not always the most important thing?
Yeah, I'll just put a different spin on it in terms of, like, you made some really good points, but a lot of coaches think in scarcity, and they think that there's not enough, and matey boy over here is going to clean up. Matey boy over here, this character that you're referring to, he's not making a dent, because I see people that are unhappy, unhealthy, and obese every day that need help.
Nice.
Just like money's being printed at an exponential rate, there's an unlimited supply of money in the world. Like, you'd be shocked at how quickly
there's an unlimited supply of overweight and fat people in the world.
Exactly. No one's making a dent. There's plenty of people to help, and the birth rate is quicker than the death rate. So there's more people to help all the time, and there's enough to go around. But you need to put yourself out there and separate yourself a little, because like we're talking about now, there's a lot of guys online and girls who are pitching their offers, their services, sliding in the DMs left, right, and center. People are getting hit from all angles and getting pitched all day long. So what's going to make you stand out? Why would people buy from you? Are you telling good stories? Are you building know, like, and trust? Are you showing up and giving value first and then delivering amazing results? You've got to tie in the whole package, then you'll be a success, whether you're offline or online.
Awesome. Nice. How can people connect to what you do?
I'd love for people just to dive into the podcast, because you're on there as well. We did a great show together, and that's a great resource. I've done over 60 shows now, been going a year. So there's
tons, some cool people on.
Tons of stuff. Yeah, tons of stuff for people to get stuck into. So just go to Coaching Ignited Podcast on any platform on the planet, I believe.
We'll put some links in, right?
Yeah, and go there and just gorge on some content. That would be a great place to start, and you can learn tons of stuff from some great people and coaches and mentors. Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right. We appreciate your time, man. We'll speak
no
soon.
Worries,
all right?
All right. Speak soon, buddy. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy it, I'd be really grateful if you could leave a short review on one of the platforms. And if you're a personal trainer in a commercial gym with 500 plus members and you want to fast track your income growth and learn how to sign multiple new clients a week, reach out to me personally through Facebook or Instagram and just drop me a private message so we can get the conversation started and see if you could be a good fit for one of our programs. All the links to my social can be found in the show notes, so we can connect there. See you next week.